Welcome to yet another video on Java 8 series interview questions. So whether you are in fresher, whether you are in experience, it doesn't matter. Java 8 are the most favored questions asked by interviewers. So they would always like try to understand whether you have an practical knowledge on Java 8. So one of the topic is reduce operations. So today we are going to look into the reduce operation. What exactly are reduce operations? How Java 8 supports it? What are the different methods to achieve those using the reduce? So we'll look into scenarios as well. Firstly, what I mean, if you already aware, right? When in the Stream API we have different two kinds of operations. One is intermediate operation and one is terminal operation. So reduce is one of the terminal operation, and then we'll see like what exactly it is reduce does. So as I mentioned, it's a terminal operation, so which it is kind of an aggregation. It will aggregate the stream, it combines all the elements, and it will produce a single result. Okay, so if once like normally like what happens is that when you're trying to iterate when you call a stream on a certain array or a collection, right, what exactly it iterates over all the um, elements, right, and then what exactly it performs is that it performs the intermediate operation, and finally once it completes the intermediate operation it performs the terminal operations, right. So it's nothing but producing a single collection by doing a series of operations. Okay, so which will ultimately do will reduce to an operation, right. So that's the theory about reduce. So there are two kinds of reduce operation. One is reduce method and one is collect, right. So we are in this particular video we are going to look into reduce. Okay, so we'll first look into a problem statement. If you see here, I've written the first statement here using Java 8, find the longest string. Okay, so they will give you an array list. So the interviewer will give you an array list. He will try to ask you like write a code in Java 8 with the help of Java Streams API to produce the longest string. Now we'll see like how we can actually achieve this using the reduce function, reduce method, right. So what we'll do is that we'll make use of converting this particular list of words. Okay, so we'll take the words, we'll convert it into a string. Now once we convert this into a stream, right, what we'll be able to do is that we'll call the reduce method over here, right. Now reduce, it will actually take those particular two inputs over here. So I will take the word one. We have to compare, right. So basically it will compare the one value with the another value, right. So it will using how we do with the comparable and comparator, right. So we'll take the word one and word two, and what we'll do is that we'll try to check the length of the w1 dot length, right. So we'll try to check that particular length of it. Okay, so we'll take the length and we'll check with the second length. Now inside this, right, what we'll do is that we'll, as we have called the reduce method, right, now we will perform the whether it is greater than, then it has to the w1 is greater, right. If it is greater, right, the first operation, if you see here, if this is satisfying, then it will return as a w1, or else it will return w2, right. So once we do this, right, this is an terminal operation. Now after, what we'll get after this is that we'll get an optional of string, right. If you see, uh, now I'll declare a variable, right. So if you see here, uh, I've reduced it to a longest string, right? Now what we'll do is that we'll try to print this particular statement and see whether it will return the longest string. Okay. Now ultimately the final result, if you see, right, uh, what exactly the reduce function does is that it has actually checked on this all this particular elements of it, and then it try to ultimately as an end result which is a single value, it produced a single element which is of the highest length. So it's compared with each of this particular element one by one, and it produced the final result. So let's see by running it. Now if you check this, right, if you see this is returning the optional, right, so what we can do is that we can get and rerun it. You get the United States over here, right? See here. Hope you got the example how to find the longest string using the help of reduce. Now we'll look at the another scenario of a reduce. uh, Now let's say we have an array of list, right? So what will array of list words, right? So what we'll do is that we'll try to combine this. So we'll try to form a sentence of this with the help of, if you see it's a different array, right? So there are different um, we'll form a sentence of this. Now with the help of, like, we'll as a joining thing, we'll use space, right, with after this each element. So we'll see like how we can convert this, right? So first of all, we have to convert this particular array to a stream, right? So we have arrays dot stream. So what we'll do is that it will take an input of an array, right, and it will convert into a stream. So now we have a stream. Now after we have a stream, now what we have to do is that we have to perform the reduce operation in it. Now again, what we did in the first method, right, we'll take the string 1 and also we'll take the string 2, right? So we'll take this. Now what we'll do is that we'll try to join this. How we'll be joining this is that we'll write a concatenation string over here with str2, and then we'll end it over here. Okay, so we'll get a optional string over here again, right? So let's declare a variable and see the final string after the operation. Now we'll try to print this, what is the exact value, right? So what is the value, the final string? If you see, we will get the optional, right? So we'll take the we'll clear this and we'll run this. Now let's look at the, yeah, if you see here, it's all written in one line, and it also has already added a space. Now we wanted to add something like, let's say comma, right? We can introduce any kind of character over here. Now if you see, it has been added as in, now earlier prior to this it was very difficult. You used to write an for loop for achieving this particular functionality, and we used to handle like whether we have a come to an end of the list, and then at the end we have to whether to apply that particular comma or any of this particular space right to it. But here actually it has become an handy to make use of this reduce function and achieve the same functionality in just one line, right? Hope you got the example. Uh, Now, third statement we'll look into, get the sum of all the products, or whether you wanted to also try to get the products of all the elements, right? Products means multiplication, right? So either sum or multiplication of all the elements, right? What we can do. So again, like we have to first convert it into a stream, right? So it's already provided as a list. So what we'll do is that we'll take the numbers and then we'll perform these streams, and then we'll call the reduce method. Now inside this, again we'll take the element and then we'll, similar to the above what we have done here, right? So we'll do here, now it's number 1 and number, I have to introduce braces over here. So num1, num2. Now with this particular num1, we'll try to add up with num2. Once we get this, we'll get the sum of it, right? So we'll get that particular thing, right? So we'll integer, right? So we'll get the integer. Now we'll see reduce to an integer, right? So what we'll do is that we'll print that output. We'll call the reduce dot get and see what will be the output over here. Okay, now if you see, it is 154 by adding all of this. Now what happens if you wanted to just multiply, right? What we can do is basically just replace it with the integer and then we can run this. So it will just be the product of all the elements over here. So now we'll see this is a value, right? Hope you got the reduce different questions asked when it comes to reduce function, right? How it can be applied for a problem statement asked by a uh, interviewer, right? Thank you.